I'm going to talk about why happiness is the new productivity. And I want to start with a little story. I started my company way back in 2002. The company is called Mindvalley, but back then it was simply a passion. I was working as a director of sales for a .com in New York, and at nights, in the evenings when I was bored, I was tinkering on the internet with online marketing. My goal was to see how much money I could make with online marketing. I read a couple of books, put up a couple of web pages, and in my first month, I lost $300. In my second month, I made exactly $10. But by my third month, I had this little system going, and I was making a grand profit of $4.50 every single day. Now, I turned it into a game. $4.50, that's a cup of a venti Starbucks hot chocolate. By month 4, I set a goal. I wanted to be able to earn enough to upgrade to a grande. And by month 4, sure enough, I was earning $5.50 a day. By month 6, it was the big one. What's that called? Venti? I can never remember the Starbucks system. The big one is the venti? Great. So by month 6, I was on a venti with full whipped cream and, get this, additional flavoring. Now, this was $7.40 every single day, and I was proud of myself. My grand vision for myself was I could go out, brag to my friends that I got to drink free Starbucks every single day. Now, by month 8, it kept rolling. I could now get Starbucks and a Subway sandwich. And that was basically how I built my business. It was fun. My goals were not dramatically big. All I wanted to do was see how much free food I could get. And that's why I put up that picture. Unfortunately, well, fortunately, the business kept growing. And by 2004, we were actually a real company. And here's where things started to change a little. Now, we had a formal business plan. I had to deal with the banks. I had, me and my business partner, Mike, we had 4 employees. The woman sitting on that chair, the beautiful woman, that's my wife, Christina. She's sitting right there, holding the camera, blushing. So what happened was, all of a sudden, I had a real business. And that massive growth that was happening in the beginning started hitting a glass ceiling. And for 4 years, it was nothing but stress and toil. I would work crazy long hours. We would do maybe $1 million in revenue, but the profit margins were razor thin. I drove a crappy, beat-up car. I lived in a very ugly apartment, and I kept wondering, why the hell is this happening to me? I would go to seminars like you guys, watch people on stage, the big names in internet marketing. I would admire them, but I could never figure out how to be like them. Now, this period lasted around 4 years. The shift happened in 2007. I was in Malaysia, and I attended a seminar, and the host of that seminar was Ha Becker and our own Rob Riopel. Rob, where are you? Okay, so Rob and Harv were there in Malaysia, and the seminar was called the Millionaire Mind Intensive. There were 5,000 people in that room, and I did not want to be there. I was there with my business partner, Mike. See, in that seminar, we learned that growing a business was not about strategy, or the best marketing, or the best business plans, or the best people. It was first and foremost about mindset. We did not want to hear that. I had a computer engineering degree from one of the best universities. Mike was a Stanford MBA. We were like, this is a bunch of woo-woo BS. It's not going to apply to us. After that first day, we wanted to get out, but we stayed. By day 3, literally, Mike and I were in tears. We were crying because we'd made this massive mind shift, and we realized that the way we'd approached building our business was completely wrong. And that's when I realized why in the early days, the free coffee in Starbucks days, my business would accelerate. But when it became a real business, it hit this wall. It was all about mind shift, mindset. And when this dawned on us, in a span of 18 months, our business completely transformed. That's an actual sales growth chart for my business. I attended the seminar. You can see when I attended that seminar, it was around 2008. And the business exploded since then. So what was that change in mindset? I'm going to go into that in more detail. But before I get there, let me show you exactly what happened when this shift in mindset occurred. So here are the side effects of what I experienced. First, huge growth. Our business exploded by 400%. We were a 5 to 6-year-old company. We had never seen this sort of revenue explosion. Second, work became fun. I had terrific employees. We tossed a lot of parties. We do an annual 70s party. We would fly the entire team to Bali for team vacations. We'd hang out on the beaches. I got to hang out with Richard Branson on Necker Island. I got to hang out with a bunch of other entrepreneurs in Iceland a couple of months ago. My life suddenly became this dream where I had this beautiful business that was generating money, and for the first time, I loved it. But it didn't stop there. We started getting dream clients and contacts. Sean Stevenson ended up becoming one of our clients. We certainly hit the stage where we no longer had to fight or get in the phone to try to bring in the next author, the next client for us to publish. They flocked to us. And in fact, my role became to say no. We started working with Sean Stevenson. I got the pleasure of working with Paula Abdul. She is crazy hot in person. Glenn Doman, the Silva Method, Brian Johnson from Philosopher's Notes. All of a sudden, I had this entire array of dream clients and contacts to work with. Next, we started getting applicants from all around the world applying to our company, to the extent where we actually have 21 people, something like 50 people from 21 countries in our company right now. We won an award, World's Most Democratic Workplace. And Carol Cohn said this yesterday. Great companies are built from their employee base. Boy, did we have a good employee base. Our company became so attractive that we got so many resumes that we actually had to say, all right, folks, this is enough. We can't go through thousands of resumes. If you want to apply to Mindvalley, you got to take an extra step and create a YouTube resume. So if you actually go to YouTube and you type in Mindvalley cover letters, you will see all of these are cover letters from all around the world of people who take the trouble to go an extra step to try to get our attention so they can work for us. And this is amazing because we get the pick of top talent. Next, we ended up with a great team. Our company went from 24 people to 50 people in just the last 1 year. And I love my team. We're almost like family. And what we did, we called it the Mindvalley way. Other entrepreneurs started emulating it, and I would get letters like this from entrepreneurs around the world. And finally, time with family. That's my son, Hayden. I don't work more than 45 hours a week, and I'm proud of that. But the best part is this. In May 2009, I got to spend 6 days in the office, and I spent 21 days on beaches around the world. I got to hang out in Fiji at Tony Robbins Resort. I got to spend some time on Necker Island with Greg and Sean and a bunch of other people who are over here. And then I took my family to Cabo, Mexico on holiday. And in that time, my company had its biggest ever sales month and our single biggest sales day. And when this happened, I was passed out on a beach. And so all of this happened with that shift in mindset. So I know now you're wondering, what is that mindset shift? And that's what I'm going to share with you. Basically, it's going in a state of flow. Now, what is flow? This is how it's defined on Wikipedia. It's a mental state of operation in which the person is fully immersed in what he or she is doing by feeling an energized focus, full involvement, and success in the process of the activity. It's a state of supreme activity. But how do you get in this state of flow? And really, it's a balance of two different things. The first is, you have to be happy in the now, right now where you are. Second, you got to have a vision of the future. So it's a delicate balance of being happy where you are right now, but having these amazing visions of what you want your life to be. Now, for all of us, at any point in our life, we can be in 4 different states of mind. The first is the negative spiral. This is where you are not happy where you are right now, and you have no vision of your future. So basically, you're miserable. And it's called a negative spiral because you're miserable, and you have no vision of where you want to be, and you're focused on being miserable, and you spiral into greater and greater and greater and greater depression. And that's a negative spiral. Now, very few of you here would probably ever would be in a negative spiral right now, but large chunks of humanity are in this state. Now, the second state is the current reality trap. This is where you are happy, gloriously happy right now, but you have no vision of the future. Now, some people think it's a good state, and maybe it is because you're happy right now. But here's the problem with the current reality trap. Tony Robbins says all of us have 2 spiritual needs: the need to grow and the need to contribute. If you're purely happy, but you have no vision or direction in your life, you can't contribute. and you can't grow. So you're happy, but you're happy in boring, utter mediocrity. And your life isn't going to give you that sense of fulfillment. So it's a good state, and I've been in that state. My college years, smoking weed, hanging out with a bunch of friends who didn't really have any direction, but it's not a state you want to be in the long term. Now, the third state is stress and anxiety. This is where you are not happy right now, but you have big visions of the future. A lot of people in the career path these days, a lot of entrepreneurs are in this state. Now, it's a good state because you have these terrific visions, you're thinking big, but it's a state where you cannot function with maximum impact because you aren't happy right now. So what is the ideal state? It's a state of flow. It's where you're happy in the present, but you have grand visions of the future. Now let's do an honest gut check right now. How many of you here would say that currently you're in a state of flow? That means you love your current job, you're happy right now, and you have amazing dreams of the future. Good, a large chunk of you. How many of you here would say that you're in a state of stress and anxiety? That means you have amazing goals, but you aren't really sure if you're going to get to these goals. And so you feel that certain amount of stress or pain. Quite a large chunk of you too. So what happened to me was that I moved from stress and anxiety to flow. I was in flow in my early days when my only intention was to play this little game and see how much free coffee I could get. And then when I started a real business, all that stress and anxiety came with it, and that baggage weighed me down. When I attended that seminar and saw Rob Leopold and Harv Eker talk on stage, that set me on a different path. I started studying the works of Esther Hicks, Neil Donald Walsh. I put away the marketing books. I studied books on spirituality. And my mindset changed, and my business exploded as a result. So this is basically what it looks like. Negative spiral, current reality, stress, flow. The goal is to keep yourself in that state of flow. Now here's something interesting. Remember the movie The Secret? If you've seen The Secret, raise your hand. It doesn't matter if you liked it. In The Secret, Bob Proctor offers this equation. Thought plus emotion equal attraction. Now if you think about that, that's really similar to the definition for the state of flow. Thoughts are your visions of the future, the thoughts of who you want to be, what you want to attract into your life. Emotions are your feelings of what's going on in your life right now. In other words, it's the exact same equation. So whether the state of flow is what scientists call it, being in a state of supreme creativity, or whether it's something more mystical, as Bob Proctor calls it, the state where you attract the law of attraction, it doesn't matter. The fact is, being in that state of flow magnifies the impact of whatever you do. And when you're able to consciously put yourself in this state, it's almost as if the universe bends in your favor. Now, there's something very important which I want you guys to realize, and it's called the paradox of intention. You must have goals, but your happiness cannot be tied to these goals. So you can have these big, crazy dreams of where you want your life to be, but you will accelerate towards those dreams faster if you're happy in the now, if you're content. In other words, the happiness comes from the journey, not the destination. You guys know what I'm talking about? So I want to go back to what Tony Sia said yesterday. Notice when flow happens and change your life to make it happen more often. And that's really the message I wanted to share with you guys. Notice the moments when you are in flow and make a conscious effort to bring yourself back to flow. So I call the practice of keeping yourself in flow blisscipline. And to me, it's the single most important thing I practice every day. It's the discipline of keeping yourself happy. Blisscipline. And what I'm going to talk about in this presentation is how to take blisscipline and how to actually turn it into an art form that you can apply to your team, to your company, to your organization, or to your nonprofit. You guys like the idea of that? So I want to share a quote. Janet said this a few hours ago. Your passions are breadcrumbs that lead you on the path to your destiny. So let me say this. The problem with most of us is we forget the importance of being in that state of flow. So lean forward. I'm going to tell you a secret. Put your hand on your ear. You see, large chunks of humanity right now are trapped in jobs or careers that they absolutely hate. They wake up every morning dreading going to work. I've been there. Now, if you're in a job or a career, or even if it's your own company, and you do not enjoy what you do, you can never be in a state of flow. Because the joy, the emotions, the happiness in the present, they aren't going to come to you. And because of that, you're wasting your time. I'm serious. You can never magnify your impact. You can have those great visions, but if the happiness isn't there, your impact is lost. So, the big secret is, if you are in a career or a job, or if you're in your own business and you don't truly enjoy what you do, get out. I'm serious. A member of the audience shared this with me yesterday over dinner. He said, his name was David Morelli, he was here a few days ago. He said, Vishen, sometimes you got to destroy your life to let the next great thing happen. And that's what many people have to do. You have to be in a career or business that you're passionate about. I learned that the hard way. So let's say, I grew up in an Indian family. So in the 1990s, I was pushed to become a computer engineer. Why? Because Bill Gates was a computer engineer, and he was the richest damn man on the planet. But I hated computer engineering. I got C's all throughout college. I even got a job at Microsoft. I quit after 11 weeks. Actually, I got myself fired because I just could not be in that environment. So I ended up working for a nonprofit, living just below the poverty line. Then I became a meditation instructor, and I was basically earning breadcrumbs. But I loved what I did. And from that tiny business, teaching people meditation in New York, I built a multi-million-dollar company with 50 people. Nobody thought it could be done. My ex-school lecturers, my friends, my family thought I was nuts. But the thing is, they forgot that when you love what you're doing and you have big dreams, you're in that state of flow, and your impact is amazing. And so Mindvalley, my company, really started from me quitting Microsoft and doing something that for most people would make you live in the poverty line. So you Canadians over here, I mean, if you are in law or accounting or any of those boring occupations and you went into it because you thought it was going to make you money, but really deep down inside you want to be a maple syrup taster or a Mountie or a lumberjack, I don't know what Canadians are into. You might want to think about making that change, because you can be the richest damn maple syrup taster in the world once you get in that state of flow. So here's what I'm going to talk about next. 10 tactics to take home today to put yourself and your company and your team in that state of flow. Stephen Covey said this 2 days ago. Our models of compensation, hiring, firing, and recruitment come from outdated industrial age models of how society works. Couldn't agree more. So I'm going to give you 10 things that I do in my company that we've been doing for the last one year to 18 months that have made an amazing effect on our bottom line and on our levels of happiness, and allowing us, me and my employees, to be in that state of flow. So the first thing is really simple. It's called daily gratitude. So what we did was we built a website called Gratitude Log, and we got all our employees, all our partners, all our customers to get on this website, join in a community, and express daily gratitude. Now, I know this sounds cheesy. Bear with me for a second. Lynn Twist said this a few days ago, what you appreciate appreciates. What we found is that when you start your day expressing gratitude for what you did in the last 24 hours, you tend to magnify your happiness, and you tend to grow that elements of your life that you're thankful for. So if you were to look at Gratitude Log, you'll see something like this. You'll see that we've got our entire community. Employees bring on their family, bring on their daughters, their sons. We have our partners, we have our customers, and every morning I log into Gratitude Log and I get to see what people in my team are happy about. I can see that my business partner, Gay Hendricks, is joyful about his cat. I can see Max Simon, who's a guy I'm mentoring, is happy that he got to spend some time helping a couple of entrepreneurs. I can see Evan, who's one of my employees, happy about free time to think. I can see Serena, one of my customers, giving a gift of appreciation to Sean Stevenson, who's one of my clients. So it's a beautiful system. And the funny thing is, scientists are now saying that when you express gratitude, your happiness goes up dramatically. They did a little study in a university in California. I can't remember the name of the university, but they found that just expressing gratitude for a few minutes daily, after 30 days, your overall happiness goes up by 25%. Imagine we have millions of Americans hooked on Prozac and other BS pharmaceuticals that supposedly make you happy. Yet, all you got to do is practice this daily practice of gratitude, and the effects beat the drugs. Now, of course, the drugs are going to be around for a while because the pharmaceutical lobby in Washington, massive. The gratitude lobby, not so big. But you get what I'm talking about. Okay, now next, we started doing something called the Awesomeness Report. Rather than have regular company meetings, every Tuesday, I get in front of my entire team, and a day before, I send them an email that says, hey team, you know the drill, send me your awesomeness updates for the week. And I ask them for cool stories of things they did outside work, stories of records that they broke in work, new product launches, new sales, new innovations. We compile all of these, and we do this like powerful, motivating PowerPoint, celebrating all our successes of the previous week. We started this a year ago. In the last year, our revenues have grown 400%, and I believe there's a connection. See, what we're doing in the Awesomeness Report is really taking the process of gratitude and formalizing it. Rather than having company meetings where you bitch and moan about what went wrong, you have company meetings where you celebrate what went right every single week, and you recognize your employees who did something cool in that week. And we start bringing in all these funny little rituals into these meetings to create this sense of joy. So for example, we have a massive bell behind me, and every time we hit a new sales record, or a website goes up in record time, or our blogger gets 10 articles up in a new record time, we ring the bell of awesomeness, and that bell has a title. It's called the Bell of Awesomeness, that is only to be rung in moments of sheer and total awesomeness. And you cannot just call it the bell. Everyone in our office treats it like it's the Dalai Lama scarf. It has to be called the Bell of Awesomeness that can only be rung in moments of sheer and total awesomeness. And then we have a little statue of Wonder Woman. Our mascot is Wonder Woman because our company, like Richard Branson suggested yesterday, 50% of the managers in our company are women. So our mascot is Wonder Woman. So every time we have a new employee, they have to put their hands on Wonder Woman's ass and take an oath of awesomeness. And it's a company ritual. Have you guys seen the movie Kung Fu Panda? So we took a phrase from that movie and it became our company motto. I blind people with the light of my awesomeness. And you'll notice the Starbucks cup, you'll notice Wonder Woman, the dog over there, that's my dog, Ozzy, he's our director of PR. You would not believe how much free PR you get from having a dog as your director of PR. We got in Wired magazine, in TechCrunch. They wouldn't write about our technology, they'd just write about this funny company in Malaysia that had a dog as its PR director. Actual PR people hated me for that. And then our company meeting started getting so joyous, so powerful that guests would come in to attend and to speak. Sean Stevenson, when he was in Malaysia, he attended our company meeting. You'll see Sean, he's the short guy. He's one of my best friends, I can make jokes like that. John Ashraf came to Malaysia to address the Prime Minister, and he takes a break away from addressing all these major politicians to come to our office and watch the Awesomeness Report. John Ashraf, for those of you who don't know, is one of the teachers from The Secret. So it's become this big thing, and now other companies are emulating it. And really, it's just taking the concept of a company meeting and turning it into something celebratory. Tony Hsieh said this yesterday. The best companies' cultures combine profits with pleasure and purpose, and that's really what we're trying to do. Okay, number 3. This gets risky, but we decided to share part of our profits with our employees. So every month, 10% of our profits get distributed to our employees. And again, the results were amazing. We used to do what typical Silicon Valley companies do, where you have stock options. But with the way the stock markets are going right now, stock options don't work anymore. I think it's a model of hiring that belongs in the past. So all we do is every month, 10% of profits go straight to employees. And as a result, people's salary checks literally double. Now, here's why I do this. And I'm bringing up this quote from Greg. Nothing happens till you have a dream and you start thinking big. By tying in our founders and our management goals for revenue with our employee goals, because they know that part of that revenue is going to go to them, we have complete alignment in our office. So if there's a massive crunch day and we got to get a product out, people don't mind working those extra hours because they know the profits aren't just going to the founders. So it's really about having those big goals, but using this to align those goals. Okay, next. This is an interesting one, and for this, this is one of the reasons why we actually won the award, World's Most Democratic Workplace. We call it the Sweet Sugar Love Machine. Basically, I have 50 employees, and Branson said this yesterday, as a leader you have to praise, lavish praise, like flowers flourish on water, people flourish on praise. But with 50 employees, I can't possibly always know what the people, say in customer support, are doing on a daily basis. So we created a software to allow people to appreciate and praise their coworkers. So basically, my employees every single day get on this system and they send little gifts, symbolic gifts, to their peers. So you'll see Juan gave Jessica a medal and said, welcome to Mindvalley, she's a new hire. Gabrielle gave Mani a durian, it's a Southeast Asian fruit, and she says, thanks for the awesome content you gave our blog. So employees start rewarding and appreciating each other, and amazing things happen. Since we launched this, office politics, pettiness, people being too busy in their own stuff to help their coworkers, all of that disappeared. And we started getting this really close-knit team. But it did have a side effect. It caused so much like love and appreciation in the office that right now, 30% of my staff is dating someone else in the company. And I haven't figured out how to deal with that right now. We're kind of watching, seeing where that's going to go. We keep them in different departments, but there are issues when you bring in too much love into a business. Number 5, we have this rule in our company. It's called the 45-5 rule. You only should work 45 hours a week because you have friends, you have family, you need a social life. You got to be productive so you can get all your work done in 45 hours. But here's the sub-rule. 5 of those 45 hours you must invest in learning new stuff. So you can work, you spend 40 hours executing, and you can spend that extra 5 hours on a Sunday curled up in bed reading a book on marketing, or on meditation, or on mindset, and you get paid for that. We really want to encourage people in growing themselves. And we also send a lot of our employees to seminars all around the world. So if you go to any marketing seminar, you'll usually see people from my company there. Garrett Gunderson said this a few days ago. The more you invest in your mind, your knowledge, and your experiences, the richer you'll be. And this has worked amazingly well for us because in 1 year, I'm able to take 25, 23-year-old people and groom them into managers who are running $2, $3 million businesses. And it's really about teaching people the importance of every now and then putting aside execution and studying. Number 6, weekly sharing and training. When these people study and learn new stuff, we give them a platform where they can come in front of their peers and share their knowledge. Now, the reason for this, Stephen Covey brought it up. You learn by teaching. I found that if I have someone read a book on marketing or take a new marketing course, and I bring them back and I have them teach their peers, they become better marketers. You learn from teaching. So it's a simple rule, but it works really well in our business. Number 7, group meditation. If you walk into my office at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday, you'll see 50 people meditating together on pillows. It's kind of weird. We've had postman, UPS delivery people get completely freaked out. They think I'm running a cult. But this is basically what we're trying to do. Sean said this yesterday. You better have a vision for what you want in your life. Every week, the entire company gets together, and I take them through a guided meditation where they visualize their life 6 to 12 months down the road. And I ask them to see what their work looks like, what their friends look like, what their bonus checks look like, how productive they are, what type of promotions they've received, what are they doing at work. And it has an amazing effect. What I'm trying to do here, you see, we start the awesomeness report by talking about gratitude, by expressing gratitude for all the cool stuff we did, right? So what are we doing? We are raising people's levels of happiness in the now. Then when we go to the meditation, we are building up their visions of the future. So really, that's what our company meetings are about. Getting people joyful in the now, celebrating their successes, and then visualizing the future, just like Sean said. Number 8, company-sponsored fun. This is the best thing about my company. Every year, we toss the best damn Halloween party in our city. And we toss an amazing 70s party. We really got this, we really live and breathe Branson's philosophy. He said this on stage yesterday. Have lots of parties. The manager should be the first one in the pool, fully clothed preferably. And I do that. You'll notice Sean in that picture as well. He came to Malaysia. He's one of our clients, so he came to Malaysia. He's working with our team. So we do actually spend a lot of time just getting drunk and wet together. Unexpected side effects. So this is a cool story. In Branson's book, business laid bare. He shares the story of how he had a call center somewhere in northern England, and he had 2,000 employees in that call center. And what he did was he tossed a massive party for his employees, and the press got wind of it. And the party got a little bit out of hand, but the press stories got even more out of hand. So he opens the papers the next day, and he sees that this journalist is talking about how disgusting virgin parties are, because people were fornicating in the parking lots. And Branson is like, that's ridiculous. How can they just exaggerate and BS like that? But the very next day, he got 2,000 applicants for his call center. And so what we started doing is we toss the biggest Halloween party in our city every year, and I give 2 tickets to each of my employees, and I say, I want you to invite the 2 smartest, most brilliant people you know. So they bring in all their best, their smartest friends. And we end up hiring those people at the party. So rather than we used to spend $3,000 taking a job ad out on an online job bulletin board, and we would get like 200 resumes, but from mediocre people. We take the money from the job ad, we pump it into a party, same money, we have a ton of fun, and we now have our employees bring in their smartest friends, and we steal them from those other companies. So really, we poach people from Google, from McKinsey. People quit jobs, come work for Mindvalley for half the salary because they love the culture that we've built. And partying is just one big aspect of that. Okay, so number 9, positive stamina. Branson said this yesterday. One of you asked him a question. He says, no point looking backwards, not for a fleeting moment. I can't remember the bad moments in my life, I only remember the good. Positive stamina is basically that mindset where when things go wrong, you're able to look past the wrong, create a bold new vision of the future, and then stay focused on that vision. So every now and then in my company, shit does happen. Software breaks down, servers crash. Recently, we spend about $1 million a year on Google advertising. Recently, we had massive issues with our Google advertising account, and we started losing $40,000 a month. Massive problem. Now, when these kind of things happen, we have an approach for dealing with it, and that approach is called positive stamina. So when an employee is down, when a massive mess-up has occurred, rather than have them focus on the mess-up, we have them create a vision board or a list, but a brand new vision of where they want their project to be. And we now have them focus on that vision. So we flip their mind from focusing on the problem to focusing on the vision. And what happens, more often than not, is by focusing on the vision, they start coming up with new ideas, new solutions that make that old problem irrelevant and obsolete. And positive stamina is so important in business that I want you to read that quote. Learn to manage your mind. Do not let a situation lure you into thinking negatively. Sometimes you'll fail, but you'll learn for the next time. Every time a negative thought comes at you, zap it. Replace it with positive thoughts. That takes energy, but the result will be stamina, positive stamina, a necessary ingredient for success. Now, I got the word positive stamina from that quote. Can anyone guess who said that? Dalai Lama? Nope. Anyone else? Lauryn Hill, the singer? Napoleon? Nope. Anyone else? Nope, not me. It was actually said by this guy, Trump. Can you believe that? He tries to act big and tough, but deep down inside, he's a softie. It's from Donald Trump. Donald Trump believes in it. Richard Branson believes in it. You might want to try believing in it too. There's amazing truth in that idea. Next, the final thing that we do, experiences and connections. Eben said this 2 days ago. The 5 closest people you hang out with will average out to who you become. Now, in my business, I used to do everything. I do the HR, I do the hiring, I would come up with the business strategy, but after a while, I could not do all these things. And I had to groom people. I had to create a director of HR, a director of marketing, person who's an expert at new strategy. Now, the way I do that is by working with their self-image. What I do is, I have people in my company exposed to brilliant minds. I expand their circle. So the 5 people that they typically work with or that they are in contact with, I expand this. And by doing so, we allow them to grow dramatically well. So some of the things we do, when there are speaker gatherings in our city, we basically host a party, invite all these amazing minds together, and we have them mingle with our employees. We send our employees to some of the most important, biggest conferences around the world. That's Alex. She's one of my top marketing people, and we invest a ton of money to send her all the way from Malaysia to San Diego to hang out with Frank Kern and Jeff Walker, who are two of the best minds in marketing. And she actually became friends with them. So by taking people in my team and exposing them to brilliant minds, they themselves see an increase in their level of brilliance. Sean Stevenson, who works with us, he's friends with maybe 3 or 4 people in my company, not just with me. And he adds a light and a certain amount of knowledge, and he helps these people grow just by being their friend. Am I right, Sean? Sean needs attention every now and then. Okay? I'll allow you to get a couple of words in. Okay, so it really is about experiences and connections. Whenever we have a best-selling author visit our city, we bring him into our office. He gets to sit for the awesomeness report, and he gets to meet our employees. That's Mark Joyner. Any of you heard of Mark Joyner? Brilliant marketer. Mark Joyner came to our office. He befriended one of our employees, and he's now helping this employee get his book published. So I believe in creating friendships, not just with me and my clients, but with my employees and my clients. So the real message is this: you're happy when you help others become happy. That's what the Dalai Lama said. And by building a business where you focus on keeping your employees happy, you make yourself happy, but more important than that, by raising their emotions, their feelings of joy in the present, yet giving them a vision of the future, you put your employees in a state of flow. And that's why I have some 50 employees, and they are just amazing with the work they do. I know that when I leave my office for weeks, stuff gets done. And the average age in my office is 24. It's 24 because we're in Malaysia, and most people over the age of 30, their wives don't let them come and work for me. Actually, a lot of our employees come from Calgary. How many of you here have a son or daughter working for me? Or a brother or a sister? Raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3, quite a number of you. It's really funny, but we hired one girl from a little town just outside Calgary. She loved Mindvalley so much, she started writing to her friends, putting up notes about us on Facebook and on Twitter. And in 1 year, we ended up getting 6 additional people from Calgary. So Alberta is actually the region of the world where I have the most number of employees from. But all of them are in Malaysia. So this is one thing I want to share though. It's really important to keep your employees happy, but here's the thing. The human heart is the most selfish organ in your body, because all the good blood that flows through it, the richest, most oxygenated blood, the heart takes for itself. It takes all the good blood, the best oxygenated blood, and then it lets the rest flow to the rest of your organs. Selfish, I know. But if the heart did not do that, the heart would die. And if the heart died, it takes out all the other organs with it. So the heart has to be selfish for all the other organs to live. And the key idea here is, you've got to be selfish. You've got to make sure your own happiness comes first. And only then you can apply all these things to make your business, your employees, your co-workers happy. You got to start with yourself. Do you guys agree? So I'm actually way ahead of schedule. That's all I had to share right now. So, I do want to acknowledge this. Stand up, Craig. No, seriously, stand up. You guys don't know this, but in our midst, we have the world's number 3 top white rapper. Number 1 is Eminem, number 2 is Vanilla Ice, number 3 is Craig Handley of CR Groove. So I'm going to allow you to ask some questions, but before I do that, just want to give you some next steps. Okay, so one thing, if you want to get on Gratitude Log, just go to gratitudelog.com, sign up. You can connect with me, you can connect with Sean. Alex Mendocian is on there as well. A lot of people in the personal development space are on there. And it's just an amazing way to boost your levels of daily happiness. Next, get on our blog, finderminds.com. I have about 250,000 subscribers. We bring in tons of new ideas in personal development. Tons of videos from Shauna on that blog, as well as lots of other speakers here whom you've heard from, like Janet Atwood. So it's a great thing to subscribe to if you're passionate about self-growth. Third, if you have sons or daughters you want to ship out to Malaysia, ask them to check out mindvalley.com. I'm always hiring. Okay, so we got 10 minutes for questions. Oh, finally, wait, one more thing. That's my contact information if you want to tweet me. So, we got 10 minutes for questions. Please, people, don't make me look like a fool. Ask me something. You.
Okay, so all your employees are in Malaysia.
Right.
Does this work for telecommuting employees? I've been struggling with that lately.
Absolutely. Oh, I could not share all the stuff we do, but one of the things that we do is we give people flexi time. So they can work from home, they can choose to work from the local Starbucks, they pick their own public holiday, so they can choose to work on Christmas and then take 2 days off for New Year, right? And that includes telecommuting. The only time everyone has to be in the office is if you have to meet with your teammates face-to-face for a brainstorming session, or even our awesomeness reports. People who are working in different countries or at home or who are sick, they simply Skype in using Skype video chat. I'm a big believer in telecommuting. Yes?
I absolutely love what you just, thank you. I live in Australia and this is much needed in Australia, especially in the corporations. I come from the corporate world. Do you license out what you're doing so that we can take your programs to other countries?
Actually, yes. A lot of people have asked me that. I am putting a product together. But I'm so not disciplined at just sitting down and getting it done. So probably somewhere in 2014, it might be ready. Shoot me an email. Actually, no, it'll probably be ready by January. Okay, so basically, if you get on Finder Minds, as soon as we release it, I'm probably going to send an email out to my blog subscribers. You'll find out. Or follow me on Twitter. Yes?
You talked a lot about how you screen employees. Do you do this with your suppliers, customers, and your other supply chains?
Screen them?
Yeah, put them through. You know, do they have to make an awesomeness level?
Yeah. Everything we do needs to be at certain levels of awesomeness. There's a bar of awesomeness that needs to be maintained. No, I'm serious. We have a bar of awesomeness, and one of the things that we do in our company is people's bonuses are voted on by other employees. So at every month, we give employees 100 points, and they decide how they want to allocate those points. They can give all 100 to Jill, or they can give 20 each to 5 different people, or they can scatter it whichever way they want. We then have a software that tabulates all these points, and the founders, me and Mike, we get to see who are top employees and who are the employees who are not doing so good. But it's all done through the wisdom of crowds. Now, based on this, people's bonuses are actually adjusted. So in other words, employees vote for their own bonus. Now, there's a bar of awesomeness, and if you're falling below that bar, we help elevate you back up that bar. If you cannot get above that bar, then it means that you may need to look for a job elsewhere. And again, we don't actually give bonuses or allocate points to our suppliers and partners, but we still always make sure we're working with awesome people. Sean slipped through the bar, but that's because he's fun to hang out with. Anyone else? Yes?
What you just said. Do you fire people? Oh.
Do we fire people?
Yeah?
Oh,
and
yeah.
how do you do it?
I love firing people. No, we don't fire people. This is what we do. We have a series of values in the company, right? 7 values. When you join the company, you only join for 3 months. At the end of 3 months, we have a review where I sit down with you, and you rate yourself on these 7 values. Now, if you are really behind in these 7 values, after 3 months, it probably means that we don't want to extend the offer. Now, because of that, it's rare that someone actually gets fired, because in those first 3 months, it's like dating. We figure out if, you're kind of a good fit for me, and we're a good fit for you, and I'm not trying to be sexually suggestive, but you know, but you sort of get the idea. Yes.
I thank you for the great talk. How did you personally identify the right friends and business associates to surround yourself with?
I just got lucky. I guess part of the reason is because when I'm a speaker, I get to meet lots of other really cool people. So I ended up making a lot of my friends through just being on stage, coming to events like this. One of the key reasons my wife and I flew 36 hours from Malaysia to come here is because we knew we were going to meet amazing people. And we did, both in the speaker's corner and in the audience. And that's really how I grow my contacts. Thank you. Well, not all of you have to clap. I didn't mean all of you were amazing. But okay, if you want it. I'm just kidding. Who else? Yes.
I just wanted to ask, what kind of products are you actually marketing? You mentioned some publishing.
Right.
But,
well, we publish personal development products. So home study programs, seminars, usually in the fields of self-growth, more related to mind and spirituality.
So how did the meditation factor in? You spoke about going to New York and teaching meditation.
Our first product that we started selling was the Silva method. It's a 1950s program from the US, but they've been big, sold like 12 million books. So that was the first thing I started selling online. And I had such a major success with that, I started branching out to more and more different products in that same genre. Next. Yes, the guy who looks like Branson. Stand up. Oh my God, look at him. It's like Branson 20 years ago.
Thank you, thank you. I have a question. I make documentaries and I write books about self-development. And I think it would be such a great story to make a documentary about your company and you. It would be inspiring for the whole world. So,
thanks.
Are you open to talk about it?
Yes, but only if you promise never to cut your hair and shave. Okay, I like that.
I promise that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, the young one. I don't know. How much do you cost?
Depends. How much would you be willing to pay?
Can you fix my lawnmower?
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
I'll think about it. Yeah, send me a resume.
Sure.
Yes.
Thanks. What I simply noticed was quite difficult for me when beginning to engage was, well, if it's a simple company, it's simply the more money, the better.
Right.
But Stephen Covey talks about like a personal scorecard or something like that. Do you have some kind of scores you could, like, when you have a goal, how to evaluate yourself and how you're doing?
Right. Well, we definitely have that in terms of revenue metrics. I will confess that is one part of our company that I know is not perfectly excellent yet, and it's something I want to fix. But Stephen Covey is absolutely right on those aspects. Well, it's not excellent yet in my company, so I don't feel qualified to talk about it. Anyone else? Yes.
What are the 7 values that you date your employees with?
Again, I'm not going to share that because I don't want to influence you, but this is what you should do, okay? And I'm actually going to give credit to Tony on this one because we borrowed the system directly from Zappos. We modified it a bit. But basically, the employees and you together do an anonymous poll and you come up with the values. Now, the values itself, to quote Tony, are not important. It's the alignment that's important. Does that make sense? So basically, I mean, if your company decides as a whole that dolphins are cool and the value is dolphins are awesome, that's fine as long as everyone is aligned along with that value. I'm bad at coming up with useful examples. Okay, next, you.
Just have a question. I work in a government organization where we have a lot of unionized employees. So I'm just curious, when you were going through your transition period from where you were at your kind of struggling phase to break through to when you just catapulted, what did you do to get everyone to buy in and really want to go with that?
That's a good question. Now, it takes a while. Like when I first started the Awesomeness Report, it wasn't as wild and crazy as it is right now. We started simply by acknowledging people for cool stuff that they did. When we first started the profit sharing, we started with a smaller share of the profits just to see how things went. When we started with employees voting on each other's bonuses, we started with a smaller percentage of bonus. So you start small, you test, you experiment, and if it works, you expand that experiment. So that's basically what I've been doing for the last 1 year, experimenting with different elements of influencing the culture of a company. Yes, and that would be the last question.
Hello, are you developing your employees to be entrepreneurs or long-term employees?
Now, both. One of the things that I look for are intrapreneurs. In other words, people who can join a company, be highly innovative, come up with amazing solutions to problems, but not necessarily the type that wants to branch out, leave, and start their own business, because that wouldn't be healthy for the company. Still, we get some entrepreneurs in the company. And what we sometimes do is, when they feel that bug to get out and do it on their own, we basically partner with them and launch a subsidiary of Mindvalley. Now, Branson did the same thing with Virgin. So in the last 1 year, I've started 3 different companies, but all were started by employees of mine who had ideas of, say, taking our products and translating them to Russian or to Latin American, or taking personal development for adults and coming up with a spin-off for kids. So we started Mindvalley Russia, Mindvalley Latin America, and Mindvalley Parenting. And these were basically me partnering with my employees. Okay, so that's the last question. Thanks.